Hey, Ray.
Yeah, Bob, my brother-in-law called.
Okay.
My brother-in-law called. I was talking to him, and I cut him off. I said, I'll call him back later.
No problem at all, brother. No problem at all.
Uh,
I'm squaring up the TV, the camera, and the screen, and we can get started. When last we spoke, we were talking about the area of operation lines, and you were telling me about a map where the RCT 31 wasn't even posted on that map. You recall that?
yeah.
Okay, well that's where we left off. Or at least that's the last thing I have recorded, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I got here marked, like more or less in my book here. 10th Corps looking to the north. I got retreat to the west, concentration in the east. 26th November, 11th of December. But I got here the reference this map to map 5 for location on area of withdrawal. So that was, but the map we're talking about then was chapter 6, map number 3. 8th Army and 10th Corps boundary lines. Boundary lines between 8th Army and 10th Corps.
Right.
Reference to the Battlefront Army map, number 3 below. Note locations requiring blocking mission at Udamni and Tianjin. Blocking position. Deny enemy forces entering and escaping either area zone of operations. And that's our plan. That's the one there where we're not on the map.
Right. I don't have your book with me, I'm just going through the maps on the internet. I'm gonna try to find that one. It's one highlighted.
The Marine Division would guarantee the safety of Wonsan and Hamhung. Then send Marines from Sudan to chosen reservoir area, then on to the Yellow River. That's at Hang Chang Yangji, with a short for Hangji.
Right.
And Singapore 10. West to the west, to the 7th Division, that Hangji for short, are located between Lim Chang and Singapore 10. Note, the two missions in bold print will be reassigned to the Army.
All right. I'm gonna tell you keep.
Division, Sudan. That's where the Marines started off for the chosen reservoir then.
Right. All right. I'll tell you what.
The Singapore 10 to that 7th Division, 1st Marine Division under to occupy a blocking position of Udamni and pursuant to Marine control under below. 1. Marine Division, Operation Order 2150. Issued at 213 November, confined the flag order issued either earlier to seize Hagaru, and in addition to provide for Regimental Combat Team 5 to pass through Regimental Combat Team 7 at Hagaru and continue to advance to the north. Now that's on the 13th of November also. While 31st Regimental Combat Team 7 occupy a blocking position at Udamni, 14 miles to the northwest.
Okay.
So let's see, the 7th Marine Division issued above will never be executed prior to Draft 3, Operation Order 7, effective 2400 November 1950. 26th November, immediately after midnight. Those remaining 10th Corps missions listed below will be followed under Plan 6. 1st Marine Division, 3rd Division, and 2nd and 7th Division, Army Rock I Corps, Plan 6, November 11th, November 25th, 2401, November 50. Assigned missions. The Army 7th Division, escaping a heavy mile front, a 30-mile front in the center of 10th Corps, would push north to the Vallowe from Pungshan to Heisenjan. It would anchor its right flank at Heisenjan, adjacent to the Rock Island forces, and the left flank on the Fusen Reservoir, east of the Chosen Reservoir. Mission completed Heisenjan under Plan 6, 21st November. The Army's 3rd Division, preparing to land at Wonsan at MacArthur's direction, would relieve the Marines at Wonsan and Hamhung and conduct such defensive operations as ordered by Alman, 12 November. Mission completed under Plan 6. Block 1 I Corps, the 3rd and Capital Divisions would continue northeasterly up the coast to Chongqing, serving as the 10th Corps right flank. The Rocks also send elements from the coast and northeasterly to the Vallowe. Due to the Joint Chiefs of Staff directive to General MacArthur that no American forces will operate under the Soviet border. This would place another Republic of Korea ROC force under the Russian border to North Korea. Mission completed under Plan 6.
Under Plan 6.
Map 5. Below is however, not below. However, below the between the dates of 11 November and 23 November, the plan of attack changes to assist 8th Army in their westward movement. This new plan is 8 will be we'll go through that these drafts before a final Plan 8 Operation Order 7 is issued to execute it. Now, that may be a little confusing there because we're talking about Plan 8.
Yeah,
where
let's.
Plan 7 is going to come from.
Yeah.
See, that's the documents I got. Note of interest. Missing from Map 5, 1st Marine Division, Rock 1, and Regimental Combat Team 11. That's their artillery unit.
Right.
Yeah, date of map is 26 November 1950. Accurate to the facts, both Marine units are someplace else. All 1st Marine Division units should be in their newly assigned zone of operations south of the line, just north of Hageroo. Regimental Combat Team 5 was relieved 1400 November, east of Chosen Reservoir, by arrival of the 132nd Infantry Battalion. They are still there on the 27th. Why is that? Also missing from that 5th 7th Infantry Division, 31st 31st Infantry Battalion. So, that's 7th Infantry Division, 31st Regimental Combat Team, 231, plus attached battalions. 1/5/32nd and 57th Field Artillery Battalion, and earlier tank company located east of the Changin Reservoir. On the next day, indicating on map 5, the map 31 listed early mission for the 32nd Regimental Combat Team minus holding Sam Sioux on the 32nd, holding Sam Sioux on the Vallowe River, and the right of the 17th Regimental Combat Team holding Haisengyan. Yes, the 7th Infantry Division has completed their assigned mission minus 22nd November 50 under Plan 6, the only unit to reach the Yellow River overlooking Manchuria. So I'm going to go into draft 1. Alman initially proposed that he could best hold the 8th Army by continuing northwest, and then, if feasible, by attacking west from some point above the chosen reservoir. This proposal fairly coincided with what MacArthur had in mind. On 15 November, he instructed Alman to open an attack to the west after his inland forces reached the town of Changin, 25 miles north of the reservoir. 20 miles west of Changin Lake, Changji, and a junction with miles north of the reservoir. 30 miles west of Changin, Lake Changin, and with the aerial road and rail line connecting Nanpojin and Haisingen. The road and track obviously served as the enemy supply route, and it was MacArthur's intention that the 10th Corps westward move attack would cut them. That's Mossman Ebb and Flow, page 48.
Yeah, I'm looking at that map right now.
Yeah, well, Smith objects, cancels, he cancels the apprehension, plan 8, draft 2. Yeah, Smith objects, Alman objects, he cancels. For that objection. Apprehension after further consideration that the supply line of the attack force would become precariously extended in any drive westward from a point as far north as Changin town. Alman offers the alternative of an attack over the road leading into the 8th Army area from Udamni at the westward edge of the Changin Reservoir.
Heading towards Bepyao.
Were to be cut at the town of Nanpojin. 55 miles west of Udamni and 40 miles north of Haishin, where Walker was forced back to. Alman intended that the Marine Division make the westward effort into Nanpojin and then press an attack northwestward to the Vallowe, pitching out in the process the Rock Second Corps on the 8th Army right. Alman MacArthur agreed to the change and instructed Alman to begin the attack as soon as possible. That's Mossman 49. Smith objects. Alman sends his G3 to Tokyo for a face-to-face meeting with General MacArthur. His Commander-in-Chief, Far East Command, approves the altered Plan 8, Draft 3, this date, 24/00/25, November 1950.
Okay.
So then the chance for victory, the outlook for victory, brightening the outlook, look for success in reacting and reaching the border during the timeline to prepare forces and plans for the light opposition to the 10th Corps' latest advances, in which the 7th Division units were the center of the Corps zone, had gone all the way to the Vallowe in the 8th Army zone, to enemy forces for the most part had remained inactive and inconspicuous since November 8th. The November 8th Army patrolling deep into enemy territory during this time, had encountered outposts, but no superior forces, major forces, or positions. In neither zone was any evidence. Neither zone was any evidence of otherwise preparations uncovered. It appeared rather that the enemy had adopted a defensive strategy and that the Chinese had broken off their engagement on 6 November, which withdrawn into positions, defenses, some distance to the north. Mossman is page 50.
Yeah. Well, that one area you're talking about where Walker got towards the Vallowe, that's where Sam Arredondo was with his tank. And he said he saw him marching towards him 4 wide before his captain told him to turn around and head back. And what date was that?
I got here now.
25th November?
No, I got here. Let's see.
You just read it.
What is important here is Plan 8, Draft 1, was the plan forwarded, favored by Commanding General Alman as a captain from some point north of the Chinese Reservoir. Suitable lateral roads to the west appear to exist, but these roads would have to be laid when the area is reached. That's policy and direction. First year, page 263.
Yeah.
That is important. The confusion over the enemy statement that the earlier Chinese forces were merely people volunteers.
Yeah, that's a political move on Miles' part, in my opinion.
Helping their sister neighbors.
Yeah, if they put them...
In alternate confusion of PLA, People's Liberation Army forces.
Right.
Was never understood until later. The fact that Marshal Ping, MacArthur's equivalent, was in complete charge, alternately, of both volunteer volunteers on the truce treaty as the volunteer army commander, as the army commander.
Right. See, that was a political move by Mao. If it was a volunteer army, then they could make the argument at the UN or wherever to say.
It wasn't a nationalist thing. And then these were just volunteers who were going to help their sister country.
Well, it's a little bit more like voluntold.
Like I think they said they named another guy who was in charge, but they said he was always there and he was on the treaty.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between volunteer and voluntold, and their volunteers were voluntold.
Yeah. So,
just to be clear.
So you're on to the reservoir. The circumstances that led to the tragedy are not documented in records and command reports. There are no records on deposit in the National Archives for the 1st Battalion, 32nd Infantry, the 33rd Battalion, 32nd Infantry, or the 57th Field Artillery for the chosen reservoir action in November of 1950. I found none when I worked in the archives, in the records there, in 1944 and 45. Several years later, I requested the National Archives for a search of yielding the reply that the research had turned up no such records. Probably none were ever prepared. All the units involved were from the part of the 7th Infantry Division. Appleman, East of Chosen, page 291. Biographical note. The records were declassified in 1979.
1979.
Yeah, so, let's see. Colonel Alan Dwight McCain, Operation Order number 2224, 01, November 1950, 7th Division, that was RCT 31, was pursuing this active mission in 10th Corps under original Plan 6.
Yeah.
So that's where he's at the Crucial Reservoir. Thanksgiving Day, November 31, 22. The 31st Infantry that were scattered across northeastern Korea, advancing along tracks that could scarcely be called roads. The regimental combat headquarters and 3rd Battalion were in the mountains near the north end of the Pusan Reservoir. The 1st Battalion was near the reservoirs southeast and near Pusan, and the 2nd Battalion was protecting the 7th Division Command Post near Pakchong. 31st Special copy, Chapter 14, via Colonel Carl newsletter. Or the newsletter I got for him. Yeah, you can put that in perspective too. That's what I told you about it was over the newsletter.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1. Operation Order 232401. 0. That's what that I after. That's always an instant thing when it's ready.
Right.
24 November. Plan 8, draft number 1. Draft number 2. 31st Regimental Combat Team continues its present mission in the center zone to north.
Yeah. You there?
Yeah, so this was all in this. Now this is the first book, though, Bob. Well, I'm getting from here because otherwise I'm getting confused with that other one where I got the addendum to.
Right.
This is the first book. This is up to page 78.
Okay. I was gonna go.
That one, so you don't confuse it with the other one, because they'll be identical, but the pages will be different.
Right. Well, I was gonna bring down the copy you sent me, but that's the one with the addendum. And I didn't want to fill in the questions. I wanted you to be able to cover it, what you needed to cover. So that we got it recorded.
Here, see, because that you'll get confused. See, what I should have done, I regret it now. I should have put the addendum as number 1 again.
Yes.
Kept these pages the same.
Yes. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So that's
That's a learning curve. That's a learning curve as a publisher. That's that's just something you learn as an author. You weren't intended to be. You weren't planning on being a military historian.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wanted that in there because in other words, that addendum should have been at the beginning. Because it was like shorter regiment, or battalion.
Right.
That was all that stuff that was in there.
So just surmise.
If you want to substitute this page for whatever that other page is, and we got it.
Right. Well, to surmise, basically what you pointed out are the concessions that O.P. Smith kept requesting of and getting away with Allman, right? Which created that horseshoe effect, right? That started the breakdown of RCT 31.
I just got in there like just flatly Smith refused, Allman changes the plan.
Right.
Draft 2 to draft 3.
Yeah.
Draft 1 and 2.
On op order 7 and then going into 8. Right.
Yeah, see, and in other words, MacArthur didn't care. He says, let's get the show on the road. I don't care what route you use.
Right.
In other words, he was trying to hint to Allman, use your own judgment. You want to do it, do it.
Yeah, he just all about getting it done. He said, I'll promise my kids to be home by Christmas, so make it happen.
Yeah. And then Smith just refused, and that's when all this is when he said the pressure was put on him.
Yeah.
Because I think he was going to be hacked if he didn't do that now. So he didn't put out the 5th Regiment until the 23rd.
Right.
God, they were out of there by then.
Right.
The tape was already over there.
Yeah. No, I would.
They were just deliberately moving in on him.
Well, the other thing is that if O.P. Smith was so insecure about holding Hagaru, then the last 2 battalions, I think it was the 2nd and 3rd battalion, or any one of those battalions could have been held at Hagaru as opposed to sending all 3 of them over to UDAMNE. He could have made that argument, but didn't.
Yeah.
Which would have strengthened the Hagaru position, the variable Y that Thomas Ricks keeps speaking about. That would have changed everything. But in the grand sum total, when you turn the lens all the way back, you see where O.P. Smith's decisions and arguments with Allman created this horseshoe which allowed the infiltration of the Chinese. When it could have been a scenario much like coming out of Pusan and the Incheon landing where you had this crossover hammer and sickle move cutting off the Chinese like it appeared that Allman had gotten approval from MacArthur. He would have done the same thing above the 38th as they did below the 38th. You follow me?
Yeah.
So again, you go back to that one map where you see the cavalry and the 31st in their zone of operations in the middle of the entire North Korean peninsula. You can see where the movement of the 132nd and the 17th Cavalry were operating and moving to the west, right, to come over the top. So any Chinese that had come over would have been caught inside. They would have been hammered against the 8th Army to the south, preferably the Marines and the Army over the top and to the east, and pushed out towards the western coast. But it would appear that O.P. Smith had other plans and was fighting his own battle. And that's not unusual because, even in his World War II days, when he took over a British position in, what was it, Iceland, I think it was, the Brits had given him, directions, and he was under control of British operational control. And as soon as he got in there, he started changing things up immediately to suit his own needs as he saw fit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and over question it, but when you turn the lens all the way back and take a look, he pretty self-motivated, and oftentimes orders would get changed. So one of the arguments that Smith made, as you've stated before, he was under operational control of the United States Army, and all of this was a U.S. Army operation with MacArthur sitting at the head, right? But that didn't put him under any kind of penal control. In other words, if O.P. Smith didn't follow an order, the worst he could worry about was being relieved of duty. It kind of reminds me of Meade in the Civil War. He would like to have taken a few of his generals back to Washington and have them, brought under trial, but he ain't got time for that. He's got a war to fight. So it gets pushed under the rug, and business goes on as usual. That's kind of my understanding of it. Again, like you, I don't have any grudge against the Marine Corps, but I'm definitely well within my rights to question the actions of one Marine, and that'd be O.P. Smith.
When he moved to that later was John. This will allow the 1st Marine Division to cross over into the previous zone of 8th Army.
Yeah.
In reality, and contrary to the earlier authors, the Commander-in-Chief eliminates the boundary lines of all 10th Corps divisions. He actually said he made only one minor change, that Walker moving his division down. It's not true. In other words, he removed all Corps because now the rocks are coming over from the coast.
Yeah.